My name is Edward Sanshin Oberholtzer. I'm the resident priest at the Joseph Priestley Zen community here in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. We are an affiliate of the Empty Moon Zen Sangha. Today, I'd like to reflect briefly on the first grave precept, the way of not killing. Bodhidharma is said to have put it this way: self-nature is subtle and mysterious. In the realm of the everlasting Dharma, not giving rise to the idea of killing is called the precept of not killing. The Buddha's seed grows in accordance with not taking life. Transmit the life of Buddha's wisdom and do not kill. Recognizing that I am not separate from all that is, I vow to take up the way of not killing. Now, I find that being a Buddhist priest brings with it certain expectations from people. Would you like a hamburger? Oh, sorry. I forgot you're a Buddhist. Just what do you people eat anyway? And yes, for a time I was a vegetarian. And no, it had nothing overtly to do with being a Buddhist. It wasn't a moral stance. It wasn't even dictated by health concerns. Though I'm sure that my wife, a longtime nurse practitioner and health educator, would have preferred that. No, it was simply that when I picked up a piece of meat, I saw the animal looking back at me. Visceral, not moral. You can see why my wife preferred to think that my choice had to do with health. My real reason was a little too disconcerting. My daughter did a good job looking after my diet. When my wife would pick up frozen roasted vegetable enchiladas at Trader Joe's, Jenny would point out the animal products in fine print that my wife, who often shopped without her reading glasses, had missed. I'd kick Jenny under the table. After all, Karen had gone out of her way to try to accommodate me, and I wasn't about to seem ungrateful. Things came to a head with the Red Cross. It had turned out that while my blood could be used for neonates, I was being rejected as a blood donor for having an iron deficiency. I tried iron supplements, spinach and citrus to encourage the uptake of iron, dark red kidney beans. Nothing worked. I was tested for internal bleeding. Again, nothing. So now I was left with a choice. Did I want a cow or a newborn looking back at me? I chose the cow. I'm not happy with it, but our lives are often choices between two bad alternatives. Alasdair MacIntyre once said that the nature of tragedy is to be found in the conflicting moral codes we all live with. Hamlet, torn between the warrior code of the Danish nobility that required vengeance and the Christian code that counseled forgiveness. These conflicts often cannot be reconciled, and in choosing one, you betray the other. Of course, my dilemma was not so dramatic. I'd even have to say that I missed eating meat, but it still weighs on me, less so now because of the iron content of my hemoglobin than from the burden that meat eating puts on the planet. So here's the deal. I'm not a Jain. If I wear a face mask now, it's to prevent the spread of the coronavirus, not because I look around and realize that the very act of breathing involves the deaths of unknown numbers of creatures. I swing my leg out of bed in the morning and crush who knows how many animals, all who die so that I might stumble out to get my cup of coffee. I eat a salad. How many insects and microfauna die in pulling that carrot out of the ground? Jains avoid eating root vegetables for that reason. And why do I privilege animals over plants? Trees, after all, seem to be able to communicate with other trees, sending out chemical warnings of parasites. And where do fungi fit in? The Book of Common Prayer reminds us that in the midst of life, we are in death. We choose, we fail, we stumble on. We do so with open eyes. This is what the precepts give us. This is what our vow to keep the precepts give us. If we think that keeping these impossible vows will solve all our problems, we're wrong. If we think that we can keep these precepts, we're wrong. Still, that is our vow, and if we think we can turn away from the precepts, we're wrong. I had a cat once, back in Massachusetts. Emma was a remarkably efficient huntress. Mice, voles, moles. She prowled our backyard each night and brought those offerings to the back door. One morning she didn't answer my call. I stepped outside to find her remains scattered over the yard, with a coyote sauntering away, looking at me over her shoulder. I mourned Emma's loss, but at least something benefited. Somewhere that day there was a coyote with a full belly. I almost think Emma would have understood. I still eat meat. One day in the not-too-distant future, I may have the opportunity to return the favor to the earth, if not to a coyote, then at least to all that microbiome that I've spent so much of my life crushing. So how do we keep this precept not to kill when it is impossible, when of necessity something dies that we might live? Hold it as an invitation to pay attention, to know ourselves more fully, to be aware, to wake up and accept responsibility, and to know how much dies that we might live and be grateful.